Hello guys, and welcome back to another Imperator Rome quick guide tutorial. So today we will speak about the Republic government. So we will go quickly over the UI because most of you do know it. What is government in general, what they do, how to win elections as a Republican government, what the government does, how to gain more power and influence in government, and generally how to manage a government. So let's quickly go down here from skies, from heavens, and let's go to government section and let's see. So let's start with the Senate and with these positions because these are the backbone of the Republic government. So at the beginning you have 5 factions. You have civic faction, which if this ruler from this faction is in power, you will gain these bonuses if he is the consul over here. So we have military faction, civic, military, mercantile faction, religious faction, and we have a populist faction. This number down below is representing the number of seats which this faction has in Senate. And Senate in general has 100 seats. You have this, as you can see, this big sign of the faction here in the middle between these two sides, and that is who is currently Praetor in government. So now once we went over these factions, because they are the backbone of everything, let's go over here and see the executive power and the power of government and how is it being buffed and influenced. So we have all of these positions, you guys can see. We have Censor, Praetor, Tribunus, Prefectus, Augur, Pontifex Maximus, Tribunus, Plebis, and Volunaris. And all of them are giving a different bonuses. But there is an important thing to watch for here, and that is this sign over here. So Pontifex Maximus and Augur, these are religious positions inside the government, and you can position any, let's say, I will call them a minister. You can position any minister or any person at this position of no matter the faction. For example, this guy, he is on religious position, but he is also from religious faction, while this guy, he is from military faction, but he is on religious position. So that is it. But now, why is it important to position good, let's say, good ministers on good positions? Because as we said, you can see this sign over here. It's saying that it requires someone with some good zeal, so some religious power. So this religious position requires someone with high zeal power. Why? Because it is then proportionally impacting the buffs for your faction. For example, he has 9 zeal power, and that is giving us minus 18% sacrifice to God's cause. That is to increase the stability. So both of the religious positions will give you the double the number of their zeal power as state buffs. While, for example, over here, Tribunus Militum, he has 10 martial skills. He is giving us 5% discipline. So this is giving us half of the amount of his military skill. Over here, as we see for oratory positions in government, if his skill is 10, we are gaining 0.10. His skill is 7, we are gaining 0.7. So all of these points, all of their martial skill points, are important to get us some buffs for our state. Most important positions in government are consul and censor, and we'll go a little bit later about why they are, but remember, consul and censor are most important positions in government, because at the end they will be the ones deciding about the support in Senate and who will be the next candidate for position of consul. Why is government important? Why is it important that you have besides these buffs, to have a competent ministers, that why is it important that you have consul and that you have support in Senate? Why do you have that, you know, that influence in Senate? It is important because all of the diplomatic actions are required approval from Senate. For example, let's go over here. If we want to go to war with Epirus, here it says that the Senate is divided on this. And if I'm to go to war with it, it will impact the tyranny here, which as a negative impact will have loyalty, happiness, and everything happening. So let's go over here. For these guys, they wouldn't support as well. Would you support this? No, you won't. So basically, I don't have support of Senate now. And a reason why we don't have that support now is because the new elections are coming, and this guy is from civic faction, and they don't have power. Military faction has. So once we get this guy, he'll have most of the Senate under his belt. He'll have 1/3 of the Senate. One third of his Senate, almost 1/3 of his Senate under his belt, and he will most likely manage to push for war. Okay, so now once we are done with the basic things of what is government, what it does, what bonuses we get, and what it basically represents, let's see how can you influence the government, how can you manage the government, and how can you get more power and secure your will. So there are 3 things which you can do to gain power and influence in government, and there are only three things which are free, but we'll speak about more of them. So you gain power from your party leader, so each of these members is giving power to his party. That's number 1. Number 2 is getting consul, and number 3 is getting censor. So only 3 positions in government will bring you free influence every month. And now let's go over this. Let's check. So if you want to check your influence and power of your faction or the faction you want to win, you'll need to hover your mouse over the number of seats they have, and here it will tell you support for military faction changes by 1.6 each month. So we are gaining, you see this oratory power sign, it's saying 0.9. That is the oratory skill of my ruler. It is 9. See, 9. This guy, it's saying 0.3. His oratory skill is 3. See, so number of oratory skill of your party leader will bring you 0. That number of oratory power he has. Second thing which you will get is from, as we can see here, Quintus Marcia Philippus, and that is censor. So you will get also proportional number of your censors oratory skill. So basically this impact will increase Senate influence by 0.7. So you're gaining power from party leader, from censor, and also from consul. Since currently as consul is guy from the select faction, let's hover over. See, we are gaining Publius Semponius Somphusus. We are gaining 0.74 from him as consul because it is kind of impacted by the power here from Senate and his personal power. So that's always around 0.7. So you can watch that. So basically you're gaining power free from party leader, consul, and censor. And that's why I told you guys that censor, for me, he might even be more important than the consul. Because, as you guys can see, I mean, we are gaining more power than he is, just from censor and from party leader. Let's say that he has 9 oratory skill. He as consul will be almost as strong as our military faction guy. So this is also important to watch for. To watch out for position of censor and consul, because in the end that will impact the power here in Senate. While we are at it, while we are at this speech of which faction should you place where, we said that censor is only important for gaining power in Senate, but these other positions here have some impact as well. For example, let's go back to this guy. Here we see that he has 10 tribunum military skill, martial skill, for this position, and he is from civic faction. So he is currently at the position of a military job. So as we see here, there is religious position, there is civic position, there is military position, and there is oratory position. So when we go, he's from civic faction, and when we, let's click on him, let's take a look. So let's check this tab because this is important. So civic, he is gaining each month 0.06 due to his fitness. But when we go over here to military faction, see, it changes by 0.15. This is changing because he has a high martial skill. Over here, this is finesse, not fitness, finesse. And also 0.05 because he's a tribune of the soldiers. So that means that this position is military position, and it will drive you forward towards military faction. For example, this is religious position, and it will drive you forward towards the religious faction. So let's go over to this guy. Let's see religious faction. See, 0.29 because he is friend with party leader. He has high zeal, and he is on position of augur, which is a government position of religious power and religious influence. So you need to watch for that. Now let's speak a little bit on how to get more influence in Senate as well, besides just securing censor in government, having council, and having a good party leader. You can secure that by endorsing a faction. By endorsing a faction, you'll need to pay with oratory power, and it will give you 10 positions here in Senate, but it will cost you 5 tyranny, which is not that good. You don't want that. We don't want tyranny. Well, not as republic, at least. Okay, let's go one more thing here, just to like finish up with this how to get power, and then to finish up this with the candidates to how to win elections. We mentioned this is like 5th time that censor, council, and party leader will give you power, and here we see that we are gaining 1.6 each month. These guys getting 1.4, this guy's getting 0.3, 0.6, 0.75. So military faction currently has the most power, and their military faction power changes, the support for it changes by 1.6 each month. This means that we have the most, so every month you have a chance to get one guy and one support flipping in Senate, and also gaining some power for your current candidate to win in next election. So by having this passive income of influence from positions in government, you gain influence in Senate, increasing the number of seats you have and increasing the chance of your candidate to win. Okay, so now let's go over how to win elections. So we already said, by having most amount of power in Senate each month, you are increasing the chance of your candidate to win. When you use your mouse over this sign of this picture of his faction, so not the number but the picture of the faction, you can see who are the candidates, currently top 4 candidates, and what are the support they have in Senate. So you can watch regarding what you want to do, which we'll speak about now. When you go over here on the number, it goes in detail faction by faction, the number of support which you will get for your next election. And down below here, with using this green tab, you can see election date, when it will happen, so you can watch when it is filling up to prepare for the elections. But best thing is to prepare right on off the bat. So this is the things which you need to watch for when you are securing the election. So now when we know who is leading, which players are in race for the position of next consul, let's see how can we increase the chance of us winning, and how can we secure this election besides just having a high influence in Senate. So that is number 1. To have a Senate influence is almost the must. to win. So just position a sensor for faction you want to win and go at it. That is number 1. Number 2, which you can do because it is important that your character has high prominence and high popularity, as you guys can see. All of them have high popularity and prominence. Is to secure, let's go over here, it's to secure a triumph here for the general, for your faction, for your candidate. So if, for example, I want Quintus Gurgis to win, I would position him as general, I would go to war, win a fight, and I would hold him a triumph, which will give him popularity. See, it would give him 25 popularity, which will skyrocket him above all others. That is one thing. Second thing is also regarding the war. You want, with your next candidate, you want to win. If you don't have enough support in Senate here to win, and you don't have enough oratory power to do some mechanics, you want to go to war and influence that. So triumph is one, and second one is to go and win battles and besiege towns. Because if your general from your faction, which you want to be next consul, his candidate, finish the siege successfully, he will gain popularity. If he wins fight, he will gain popularity, and then you can give him triumph and just make the cream on top, so he gain more power. So that is one thing you can do. And there is another thing. So you don't need to gain power to win. You don't need to gain more numbers to win. You can also win by decreasing the number of others, because that is indirectly giving more numbers to you. What I'm saying, I'm not crazy, is, let's see, this is Postumus Magillus. Is it this guy? Yeah, it is. So look at this. This is his popularity 29, and he is currently 2nd. So let's go over to him. Let's maybe smear his reputation. He lost 25 popularity. Let's check over here. Let's wait for a tick. Let's see how this will change. We need to wait for a month. Let's see, 39, 32, 39. Let's see, will we change the influence in Senate as well and support? Let's take a look. 32. Yep, see, we flipped one hand and we gain 1 support. So let's check now for poor Magalius. Look at this. He's not even in race. He's not even close. So you can smear reputation here and influence that to kind of lower down their chance of winning, your opponent's chance of winning. One more thing which I should remember, and which I want to remember to say, and I want to say, is laws. You can pass laws. It costs only 25 oratory power. You don't need support from Senate, but here you can change mostly to influence some parties. For example, we have this election reforms. Look at this. Populist faction gains 0.05 support each month. So you can change this. So you can change the election duration term. So this means that this guy as consul will stay longer. Also, what you can do is change this to gain more power to populist faction. Look at this election term duration, 45 years. Woo. So you can impact some of the elections by proposing new laws here, which will in retrospect influence the power of parties in Senate, which will then decide who will be next consul. So I hope that you found this quick guide interesting. If you have, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check our Imperator Rome guide gameplay tutorial. Well, you can find all of this while we are playing, and you can basically see all of the things which we just mentioned through the game. So don't forget to check that as well. So I'll see you guys in our next episode. Bye.